You can build the life you always wanted and still wake up one day wondering how it became a life you no longer recognize. That's where I found myself. From the outside, everything looked perfect, a career I dreamed of since I was 15, the kind of job title you never say out loud you want because it seems impossible until it suddenly happens. But behind the scenes, I was exhausted. My health was slipping, and the life I had built, the one I thought that would make me feel complete, suddenly felt like it belonged to someone else. Hi, my name is Marii, and I left that high-status job without a backup plan. Now I'm learning what it means to rebuild life slowly, to create something softer, more aligned, and more mine. Right now I'm starting a 500-day project to find a new dream, and this is the beginning. For most of my life, I measured my worth in what I achieved. First, it was my grades, then the title on my resume, then how well I performed in that job I worked so hard to get. And for a long time, that really worked. I got good grades in high school, I completed a prestigious degree, I landed a job in politics, the field I care the most about, and not just any job. Relatively quickly, I became a personal advisor to one of the ministers here in Norway. It was the exact role I had dreamed about since I was 15 years old. I'd never dared to say it out loud because I didn't think it would ever happen. But there I was, in my early 30s, standing in the middle of my dream. And yet, something was off. I was working way too much, my health was starting to fray at the edges, and even though I was living my dream, I didn't feel like the main character in my own life. Everything I was working for, all my energy, all the hours, it was all about something else. Slowly, the dream I have built became less and less about purpose and more about survival. Get through this week, then the next, and the next. I started to wonder how much longer I could keep going. But I had no idea what else I could do. The truth is, so much of my joy had always come from having something to work towards. And when I finally got there, when I reached that peak I've been climbing towards over a decade, there was no next mountain. No new horizon, just the endless upkeep of a life that no longer felt like mine. After a lot of overthinking and a slow slide into burnout, I made a decision. I quit. No backup plan, no exciting new opportunity waiting for me, just the deep knowing that I couldn't keep living the way I was. I didn't know exactly what I was working towards, but I knew I needed to walk away. At that point, what mattered was getting my head above water again. I needed space to find rest, learning how to breathe without rushing. I thought leaving would feel like freedom, but the truth is, the hardest part isn't quitting. It was standing in the silence afterwards. It was realizing that for the first time in my adult life, I had no clear answer to the question, what do you do? And then maybe this wasn't just about finding a new job. Maybe it was about finding a new version of myself. It's been a little over a year now since I walked away from that job. It took me longer than I expected to land something new. And in the beginning, I was worried about that. I thought I should be moving faster, figuring things out. But looking back, I'm grateful for that gap. I got to rest in the way I hadn't for years, to have quiet mornings without an inbox distracting my mood. Just to be. The job I have now isn't a dream job, the way my old one was. But it's a good job, with kind colleagues, flexible days, and space to live a life outside of just working. And honestly, for now, that's enough. Because this past year has been about so much more than just work. I got married. I spent hundreds of hours creating my own wedding dress, stitch by stitch. I documented the entire process, and if you're curious, you can see it here. My husband and I, we have bought a house we're going to renovate. A slow, messy, beautiful project that will probably teach me as much about myself as it will about renovating. And maybe the best part, I've finally had time for the people I love. The ones who've been cheering for me quietly for years. The ones I used to squeeze into the margins of my calendar. In so many ways, life is wonderful. And yet, there is still a part of me that misses having a dream to chase. Not the burnout kind of chasing, not the endless, exhausting sprint to prove myself, but the deep, soul-filling kind. The one that makes you wake up excited and pulls you forward even on the hard days. I miss the version of me that was laser-focused, who knew exactly what she wanted. I want a new dream to build. The only problem? I don't know what that dream is yet. And that's the part no one tells you about starting over. It's not always a need before and after. Sometimes the middle stretches out longer than you thought it would. Sometimes it's not about finding the new answer right away. It's about learning to live in the question. This Tuesday is my birthday. I'll turn 34, and I realized something. From that day, there will be exactly 500 days until January 1st, 2027. So I'm giving myself those 500 days to find a new dream. It feels like the right amount of time. It's long enough to take my life in a new direction, to explore without rushing, but it's defined enough that I can feel the pull of the finish line. So this is the project. This is what I'm working towards right now. Over the next 500 days, I'm going to share the process with you, every step of it. The tools I use to track my goals, the systems that help me stay focused without burning out, the habits and practices that keep me balanced along the way, and just as importantly, the mistakes. The detours, the days where I have to change my mind or start over again, because this isn't about creating a perfect plan. My hope is that somewhere along this journey, I'll uncover a dream I can carry into the next season of my life. One that feels both exciting and sustainable. And I think that dream will grow best if I start not by chasing something that's far away, but by shaping the life I'm living right now. I believe in designing a daily life that you actually enjoy living in, a rhythm that feels nourishing, a way of moving through the world where each step is already pointing you in the right direction. Because if you're walking in the right direction every day, you do not have to be afraid of where you'll end up. So step one, for me, is simple. Defining the areas of life I want to focus on in this next chapter. That's where I'm starting this week. It feels fitting to begin on my birthday. There's something about starting a personal project on a day that already marks a change. It's like drawing a line in the sand and saying, from here, I go forward. I don't know exactly what the next 500 days will bring. I don't know if the dream I find looks like a career shift, a creative project, a lifestyle choice, or something I can't even imagine yet. But I do know this. I want to arrive on January 1st, 2027 with a life that feels like mine and a new dream to chase. If you're in your own season of searching, if you're between what was and what's next, maybe this is an invitation for you too. To take the next 500 days to see where you can grow. Not in a way that burns you out or demands perfection, but in a way that feels gentle, curious, and true. So here's to the first step. Here's to building a dream one day at a time, and here's to seeing where we'll be 500 days from now. So if you want to see how this unfolds, the wins, the detours, the quiet in-between moments, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next chapter of this 500-day journey. And if you're sitting with some of the same questions as I am, wondering what's next, craving a new dream, or just wanting to live life a little bit more slowly and intentionally, I'd love to hear from you. Leave me a comment and tell me where you're at right now, or send me a message if you'd rather share privately. Because while this is my personal project, I think it could be even more meaningful if we do it together. A small circle of people scattered across the world, each quietly building a dream they want next. So let's chase new dreams, one gentle step at a time. I'm glad that you are here, and I can't wait to see where we end up 500 days from now.